Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Soulful Mamas podcast. You're with Maria. Thanks for joining me today. Hopefully your day has been great and you are, if you've been one of those people that have felt the intensity of that eclipse portal that we've just traversed out of, if you are one of those people that you're now feeling like you can breathe a bit more again and you're getting more clarity and the light is brighter, so to speak. Yeah, it's been a big one, definitely a big one. I've felt it for sure. And yeah, so many people I know have. But on the other side of it, it feels, what's the word, expansive, and it feels like there's more potential. And for us here in the Southern Hemisphere, just being through the spring equinox, that balance point and now fully into spring, it feels like this potential of new growth is really available. So, yeah, working with that energy and harnessing that. And also, obviously, taking the time to breathe in amongst it all. Remember your sacred pauses. I have got a really beautiful conversation for you to listen to today. The word is nourishment and wholesome. The conversation just really embodies the simplicity of life, of mothering, and calling in those beautiful, wholesome, nourishing aspects into our parenting journey and life journey in general. I've got the beautiful Emily Bristow, and I've known Emily for quite some years. We did our Rudolf Steiner early childhood teacher training together, and in that phase of life, I had two young children, probably the age that hers are now, and she was young and didn't have children. Yet, you know, when you meet someone and there's just this resonance and you just click something, on looking at it on paper, so to speak, we're in different generations and different stages of life. It wouldn't be a match, but we clicked and we were a match, if you like, and had some wonderful journeys throughout that, those years of our training, and so many similarities in how we show up in the world. And she's now doing very similar to kind of what I do. So anyway, it just makes my heart sing and my soul so happy, being witness to her journey and that she's come and shared her story with us. So just be prepared to be like you'd be wrapped up in a beautiful woolen blanket and with a lovely cup of tea. And that's what this conversation is, so beautiful. Anyway, without any further ado, I bring to you the beautiful Emily. Emily, welcome to the Soulful Mamas podcast.
Hello, so good to be here.
So good to have you here. It's been a wee while in the making, but we've made it happen. That's great.
Busy mums, I might add.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you want to share a little bit with us about your journey into motherhood and what that looked like for you?
Yeah, so I was living in Auckland at the time. I was teaching as a Steiner teacher at the Michael Park School in kindergarten. I'd had a bit of a back injury, so I was only doing sort of 15 hours a week there, and then lots of injury rehab in the process. And I also had on my mind that I wanted to start exploring becoming a Pilates teacher in the mindset that my back injury was pretty serious and I was going to need to perhaps not be a full-time teacher for the rest of my life, because those little tiny chairs are not conducive to severe lower back pain.
Nope.
And so my partner and I had a conversation a couple of months back, like, when would be a good time to have a baby? Should we just try and see how it goes? And then I was day one of my Pilates instructor training, and I was thinking, I haven't got my period yet. Actually, that's right. We're kind of somewhat trying for a baby, and boom, I was pregnant the first month of deciding to just give it a whirl. So
Wow.
very lucky, very blessed to be able to get pregnant with ease, but also quite a shock, being like, oh, okay, I've never been pregnant before and it works. And here we are, I'm embarking on this somewhat new career and learning journey, and all that is in my brain is my belly is full of a potential baby. And I have to tell my teacher, because I'm probably not supposed to be doing deep core work for the 10 days of our course.
Yeah.
So told my partner, and we spent the next 7 or 8 months in Auckland and decided that we would move down to the Bay of Plenty and not have a baby in Auckland and in the hustle and the rat race and the traffic and all of the things. So right before the first COVID lockdown, we moved into a rural place on my stepdad's orchard in Pongakawa in rural Te Puke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bit of a contrast to Auckland.
Yeah, massive contrast. I think it took a bit to adjust the slowing down, and not just slowing down from Auckland, weeks later going into this weird very first lockdown and being like super rural, and there was other houses on the property because my stepdad grew organic feijoas for market. It was feijoa time, and so we all got to meet up every day to pick up the feijoas. So it felt like a really social, really, lucky time for us. And I was sort of like, oh, fantastic. Kia doesn't have to go to work every day. Surely we're going to have this baby soon, and it'll all be just peachy in the countryside. Yeah.
And was it peachy?
I mean, I went to 42.5 weeks overdue. So I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and slowly my plans and desires for birth started to go out the window. You're not allowed at the birth center after 41 weeks. The midwives start really hassling you at 42, and I started to run out of people that would support me to not be induced. And so coming up, I think it was a Thursday, and one of them said, oh, you need to come in for an induction tomorrow. I said, oh, I'm not quite ready yet. I'm almost 42 weeks, the fruit will fall when it's ripe. And they said, oh, well, but we don't do inductions on the weekend. I thought, oh, how inconvenient for you. But please just give me the weekend, and surely he'll come by the weekend. And Monday came around and he was not there. And so my partner and I, unplanned, were matching outfits. We both had mustard colored tops and black pants. We showed up to the hospital carrying my salt lamp and a yoga ball. we walked into this environment that's really not conducive to a salt lamp, and said, we're here to be induced. And it sort of felt like quite against my will. So I started to get quite upset at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you had any other option?
Not really. I'd even called my somewhat hippie alternative midwife friend in Auckland and said, this is the situation. I'm 42 weeks in one day, and the midwives are saying I need to be induced, and the doctors are saying I need to be induced. And she just sort of said, well, the end of the day, it's up to you. You don't have to do anything that they say, but these are the risks. And the more and more I heard the risks, the more I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I pushing it out so much? Just do it. And I spoke to my coach at the time, and she said, I think it was so the first day in hospital, they used some gel that they put inside, and I was having really light contractions, but they weren't regular, and there was nothing really, really kicking off. And the next day, they said, we're moving you to a delivery suite, and we're going to start the Syntocin in. I was like, oh, okay, can I just go for a walk? And I went for a walk and then spoke with my coach, and she said, look, it's just time to surrender to the drip, take the modern medicine, and your baby's going to be here soon. So they tried to break my waters. I got very upset then. This is not what I want. This is not how I planned it. But then I pulled myself together and said, right, let's go. And they turned the IV on, and they just kept cranking it up, like turning up the intensity of the Syntocin, and the contractions got crazy heavy, crazy fast. But within 6 or 7 hours at the most, he came, and it was, from what I've heard through other birth stories, quite a positive induction story. It didn't lead to other interventions, and the pushing was quite quick. There was one point where I was laying on the bed, and apparently there was a lot of doctors in the room, and they said, oh, you need to move down the bed a bit. I said, I don't want to move down the bed. I want to get off the bed. And they were like, yes, yes, you can do that. And I got off the bed, and I hung over it, holding onto my partner's arms. He was on the other side. And I think the gravity just really helped to bring him down. The midwife was underneath me with her phone torch of all things, and caught the baby, passed him up to me. He had the cord wrapped around his neck twice. I think that's what they would, he may have stopped breathing a little bit through the birth canal or something, and that's why they were all there. But then he cried straight away and had wonderful APGAR scores and all the things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gee, that's a big initiation into motherhood, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And just that night, my partner had to leave because it was the hospital and it was COVID, and I had to be in a room with another woman. So he wasn't allowed to stay. And it just felt like, what? This is so wrong.
Mm,
Why is he leaving? He's meant to be here. We've just gone through the most intense experience of our lives, and he's
yeah.
been told to just go off on his way and sleep by himself for the night. And then the mother and the other mother in the room was snoring her head off really loudly while her baby was screaming. And I just lay there thinking, this is just not right. I shouldn't be here. And I tried to go to the birthing center that night, because you can go after the baby's
Mhm.
born, but it was full.
Mm,
And so I couldn't go, and they tried to feed me this awful fish pie after I hadn't eaten for like 8 or 9 hours. I was just like, oh,
yeah.
where is the nourishment?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That word nourishment in all the ways. Hey, that
Mm,
nurturing, that nourishment for the mother. Yeah. Yeah.
mm,
No. That's a real intense time to be giving birth. And that,
yeah. I don't think anyone was allowed to visit, but my sister was about to go on a 3-week fishing. She used to work on fishing boats, and she was allowed up to visit him, but my partner had to leave the hospital and go downstairs so that she could come in, so that there was only one at a time. And it's just absurd. Like, what difference is that going to make? But that was the rules at the time, and I'm sure there were even more intense rules when it was level 4 and things like that, because by that stage I think it was level 3.
right. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Level 4, another whole new kettle of
mm,
fish. Wow.
mm.
Gosh. And then into the world he came. You're a mum.
Yes. Yeah. And I was a mum, a little Tora boy. His name is Tora Zada McDonald, and yeah, he was 8 pound 1 and all the things, and absolutely fine, and probably could have stayed in a bit longer should he have needed to.
Yeah. It's a really interesting topic, isn't it? Interesting question. Yeah, there seems to be, you get to a certain number of weeks and there's a fear response that kicks in for especially the medical people,
Mm,
worrying about all the things that potentially could go wrong.
mm,
Yeah.
And I think because they see a lot of the things that go wrong, and they see majority things that go wrong. They don't see the beautiful home births, next to the candles, in the pool, by the fire, things all tickety boo. They, especially the obstetricians, they're called in an emergency. They're called to fix
Yeah.
things when things are not good.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, exactly. So you can see them, they're doing their job in there.
Yes.
Just that connection, well, that disconnect between the nourishment piece and all the
Mm,
ways you look at that word is sometimes missing. Not intentionally, but it's a gap.
mm.
There is a gap. And how did you, so it's level 3 and you're going home with a newborn baby. How was that for you?
Yeah, I think because I'd had that really sort of tough night with not much sleep, the first thing I said to the nurses was, how and when can I go home? And they said, oh, I think he needed to wee or pass a bowel motion, or I did, or somebody needed to do something along those lines. And I don't even know if that actually happened, but by 10 a.m. I was checking out and going home, and checking out as if it's a hotel. It certainly wasn't. And yeah, and then we got home and I hopped into my own linen sheets and ate some home food and sat around feeding, and I think close family sort of popped in for a visit, and yeah, we just rested and ate and yeah, breastfed and all of the things, and it was yeah, really polarizing. I think it was May, so we put the fire on and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which is that wholesome nourishment that you're needing and craving. Okay. So you have 2 children. So for your second son, how did that first experience inform the second, if it did?
I think I just had more of a confidence around birth and that I knew I could do it. Um, and I'd been told that the drug Syntocinon made contractions more sore and more intense. So thinking, well, surely it can't be as strong or as painful as that was. So perhaps I would be fine in a more natural birth. And I had ideas about home birth then. I was sort of like, I would really like to birth at home, I think. But I also fantasized about the idea of going to the birth center because I heard it was just so beautifully set up for birth. They had a double bed so dad could stay. They have things you can hang on. They have a pre-set up pool. They have Swiss balls and all the things for birthing, and they do feed you really well with really good, nourishing, delicious food as well. So that was a drawing point there. But also, we lived 45 minutes away from the hospital out at a rural beach, Pukahina. And so I sort of thought, oh, that is pretty far from the hospital if anything did go wrong. But the closer and closer I got to my due date, um, the more I felt like, actually, maybe I really do want to stay at home. And the place that we were living, it was a container house, kind of tiny home type thing. And we were living on a wedding venue, and I was running events. And there was one wedding coming up, and I thought, I can't go into labor and be screaming and shouting in my house while there's a wedding on. But once that wedding had happened, I was like, no, I definitely want to stay home for my home birth. And because it was a wedding venue, there's this huge green grass space outside. And I was like, if we really did need a chopper, it's a perfect landing pad right there. So classic me, overthinking, thinks of everything, all of that. But this time I was like, no, definitely, I don't want that Syntocin and stuff. And I just want to have a natural home birth. I invited my partner's sister. She was over from Norway at the time. She's a photographer, and she's just a really connected, sensitive person. And I thought she'd be great to have on board there, because my partner was a little bit nervous about it. He'd seen the other birth, and he's wrapping things around his head, going all white and sweaty, being like, I think she needs an epidural. She definitely needs an epidural. And that was at like pretty much transition. And I was nodding like, yeah, I think you're right. And so, we didn't actually get one, but he wasn't exactly the calm, grounded presence that he was in the beginning. But then second time round he was. So contractions started at 41 and a half weeks. So it was still over, and I still had in the back of my mind, oh gosh, don't go longer than 42. But it was sort of 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. at night, and I was like, oh, that feels like a bit more than the tightenings that I've been having. And sure enough, within an hour, it was every 4 or 5 minutes were a minute long. And we called the midwife, and she said, I'm going to come out straight away because you're so far away. I don't want to miss it. And she came out, and I labored this time under the stars sometimes for contractions. Me and my partner, my sister-in-law was lighting beeswax candles and making it all beautiful in the space, filling up the pool. She was taking photos where she could. She was turning the midwife's iPad bright lights away from me. And, she was just really connected with what she knew that I needed. And then Kia, my partner, was there just strong, holding me through each contraction. Hopped in the water probably a bit early. Things really slowed down then. But each time I stood up, another contraction would start. And so they said, we probably could get out of the water. And then it sort of, slowed down, or he got a bit stuck around 5 or 6 in the morning. And so they had me have a bit of a rest in bed. And then when I couldn't lie down any longer, they had me doing some leg walks on the ranch slider that had a step down, just to wiggle them down a bit more. And then a few minutes after that, I was kneeling in front of the sofa, and he came down really quickly, not too long of pushing. My other friend that was meant to be there finally arrived. She lived with us at the time, but she was house sitting that week and missed the phone call and came in late, just early in the morning, and she had some essential oils and a bit of massage to help with the end part. And then he arrived, and we didn't know what we were having, so it was funny for everyone that we had another boy.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Are they quite close? What's the age difference between the two boys?
20 months. So my oldest was 11 months when we found out we were surprise pregnant. And that was full on, having a toddler and being pregnant, and then having a toddler and expecting him to get me nappies and do things, and you're firing all these instructions at him, and he just wasn't getting it
No.
because he was not quite 2.
Yeah, he's still a baby himself. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so now your eldest is 5, right? So
Yes.
they're 5 and 3 and a bit.
Yeah.
How's their relationship kind of evolved
Oh,
over the
I
time?
mean, they're the greatest of friends and the worst of enemies. They fight like anything, but they'll also, if one of them goes off to do something alone, the other one will be, when's Tora getting home? What can I do? I'm bored. And they
Yeah.
want to be in each other's company as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, they're pretty
Yeah.
close.
There's different pros and cons, hey, of having that close. I know it's intense as a parent when they're really young, but it's really
Yeah.
beautiful watching the evolution of the friendship and like you say, the
Mm.
greatest of friends and the greatest of enemies at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's and so your second was past the lockdowns, wasn't in that period, was it? Was it afterwards?
I think there was still other types of lockdowns happening. I know we had a lockdown. I think perhaps I was pregnant for the second lockdown and we were there again. But then in my second week postpartum, we all got COVID. And so at that time, you had to stay home when you got COVID.
Yeah.
And it was a blessing and a curse because this poor newborn baby was lying there vomiting and getting fevers and things like that. And we were all feeling terrible. But my partner was home
Mm.
and he would have been back at work, and I would have been alone with these two young boys. And it was actually really nice that he got to stay home. He was the least sick out of all of us, and he just really looked after us all and stayed home for another 2 weeks, I think. So we got a total of 3 or 4 weeks with it
Mm.
just being us all together at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What an initiation, hey? Gosh. Gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's,
exhausted from birth and then exhausted from COVID.
mm. Yeah.
Mm,
Challenging times, hey? Really challenging times. But yeah, beautiful that you were able to have that home birth and have it just how what felt right in the moment. You're able to
yeah,
have, just that picture of under the stars. So magical, which would have
yeah,
been, yeah, a very different
yeah,
experience if you were somewhere else. So yeah,
mm,
that is lovely. Yeah.
yeah. And going straight into my own bed, being fed, home food and all of those things. I think there was one point during the labor where I was lying in the birth pool and I was having too much of a good time, that it slowed down, because I was just lying there going, this is so much better than the hospital, and the candles were on and my house plants were next to me. And it was just,
Yeah.
yeah, it was so cool.
Yeah. And nice that was for your second as well. So it brings the experience back to the peaceful,
Mm,
positive, yeah, rather than,
yeah.
mm, wow. And so you went from teaching, then you had your baby, and did you say managing weddings in amongst
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Is that what you went back to as well after you'd had your second?
I mean, I still run the wedding venue remotely, but because of the size of it and it not having more event resource consent, we can only run 6 a year. And so it's very much just an in the background job, a few emails here and there. And when we were living on site, I would just induct them. And it was the kind of venue that you book it for 3 days and they pack in and pack out all of it themselves and leave it how they found it. And so
Right.
it was quite low maintenance kind of um, work and easy to manage just in the background of parenting. But I also was doing the admin and helping my partner to run our little roofing company. So doing work here and there with that. And then we were also running kid zones at spiritual music festivals. So
Yeah,
we'd go
nice.
up to Auckland and bring a whole lot of wooden toys and craft workshops and nature inspired games and things like that. And then we would set it all up, have 10 to 12 volunteers and manage all of that. That was pretty full on, but we kind of loved it. Like, loved going to the festivals. There's heaps of other families there. You sort of live in community for a few days, and
Mm.
it made us still feel young, because my partner is a couple of years younger than me and I was only 29 or 30, and so we were still keen on doing this young person stuff, and that was our
Mm.
way of doing it. And
Yeah,
we had the boys' godparents would usually come with us, and they were really helpful. They would always hold a baby or, do all of that
yeah,
stuff with us to make it achievable.
yeah.
Mm,
I love it. What a fun experience. And it
mm,
is having that taster of community living, and it just, I don't know, there's something about it, hey? Like trying to
mm,
make that work,
mm,
like long term, that becomes more of the norm. That,
mm,
like you just said, your friends helping with the baby, it's just fully, and even like when you talk about your sister-in-law supporting in birth and she just knew intuitively how to best support you, like
mm.
without being in your face. There's just this,
Yeah.
I don't know, when you're in sync with people and you can be in a space, whether that's living in
Mm,
community or whatever that looks like. But it's
mm,
really nice that we can find that and then, yeah, nurture it. Yeah.
mm.
Yeah. So, because you and I met, I don't know how many years ago, many years ago when we were doing our Steiner training, right? So, um,
Probably 8 or 9 if you go off
yeah,
how old the kids are, and then the 3 years before that of this.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, quite a long time. How you've used that in amongst the time pre-children with your different teaching roles, but how do you find that, if it has, informed how you're showing up as a parent or just in your day-to-day?
Well, I think um, I myself am quite a sensitive person, sensitive to light, sound, different fabrics, and all that kind of thing. So when I found Steiner education, it was a real full nourishment of the senses for me, having that, the beauty, the connection with the seasons, the connection with nature, um, and the warmth was really important to me. And so I guess those main themes really informed my parenting. I've always had big woolly jumpers for the boys. They've all been earthy colors, and everyone laughs at me for how particular and OCD I am with fabrics and colors and clothing, but it's just something that makes me feel good when I'm wearing it. So I assume it feels good for them. And it makes me feel nourished looking at these seasonal earthy colors as well. And I think when you're at home all day, every day with kids, those little simple pleasures that nourish the senses were just really important to me, and I really valued them and still
Mhm.
do. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the color of my bed.
I love it. Looks similar to mine, actually.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I 100% yeah, I agree. I feel that too. Yeah, it's interesting what resonates with you, because I run the play circle groups in Hamilton, but you're also doing the same in Tauranga. Um, just the parents that are drawn to, the Steiner inspired or Steiner um, little play groups, and it's a similar thing. And it doesn't mean it's a right or a wrong, but there's just something within um, each of them, us, that it's a connection point. And I guess this is like that community piece again, right? You find the people where you
Mm,
um, resonate with, and you have similar interests or values. And it doesn't mean that you all have to wear earthy woolen jumpers, but there'll be something in the appreciation of fibers and that natural
mm,
element and working with the natural world. I think that's a big
mm,
part of that appreciation of, um, yeah, Mother Earth and all of her gifts. Yeah,
mm.
yeah. Um, so going back into kindergarten as a teacher while you've got two little ones at home, how did that unfold for you?
Oh, I get this question weekly by mothers in playgroup, by other teachers at the school, by friends of mine in the community. And it just, for me, I know the level of burnout that I can achieve when I'm in a teacher's setting. I burnt out as a mother in my in the just after the first year of my second boy's life, and I'm really conscious since that burnout and that sort of struggle with mental health that I need to manage my energy. I need to manage what I do. And also with the back injury that was present, I can't physically do
Mm,
the demands of a teacher that I remember so well. And I, as a young 20-something-year-old, wasn't even a concept for me, burnout. I would just go hard, do everything really full on, and dive into all sorts of things. I was teaching and socializing, and my life was always very full, and it still is. But I think teaching full time and bringing the two boys home, after kinder, then you're still meant to do all your learning stories and all of your paperwork, and that outside of that, I would be up till 10 o'clock at night completing that kind of stuff.
yeah,
And while we would both love more money at the moment, that's just not conducive to creating a really healthy, balanced lifestyle right now while they're young. Perhaps later on, when they're a bit older, I might be more inclined to dive a bit deeper into the kindergarten work. But I think since that pretty full-on burnout of being a mum, I've wanted to help other mothers in the space and help them to feel supported and nourished and not let it get to that point. And through those discoveries, I was invited randomly one day to my friend's home birth a few months after my own home birth, and I turned up with Rafi in the front pack and just had this epic, wild experience of her giving birth in her lounge room. And I got such a high off that. I just thought, gosh, this is what I want to do one day. And now I'm doing my doula training and, wanting to show up at other mothers' births and be that really grounded support. But mainly I want to work in postpartum support and pop into homes of mothers, new mothers, second time mothers, third time mothers, and be that support that I probably should have enlisted myself
Yeah.
in 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 motherhood. And I think that postpartum support can be done within kindy hours. So from a practical perspective, that's something I could achieve. I've worked with parents and babies for 10 to 15 years now being a teacher. I've got lots of little tips and tricks from going from teacher to mother. I've got all kinds of first 1,000 days and theories and Pickler and research and Steiner in my head that comes out when questioned. And yeah, I just feel like that more one-on-one support is where I can be most valuable, and that will help to support myself and my family as well. And then there's always time for being a relief teacher and putting that teacher hat back on and going and being a really good, healthy teacher for a couple of days rather than being a very tired, burnt out mother teacher.
Oh, amen to that. I love all of that. It's such great self-awareness. And yeah, I remember having a very similar recognition from full-time coaching, being out of that, because I realized whilst I absolutely loved my class and all the children and the families, I had to take that. It took me far too long to realize it, but take that step back and realize, but I actually love my own children just that little bit more. So I had to put them first. It sounds easy as we're talking about it, but it really isn't it? It's like making
No.
that decision is massive. It's really, really, really big, because we're up until that point, I guess we're almost defined by, well, you're Emily, the teacher, Maria, the teacher. It's always what the hat I'd worn. And trying to do both justice when you're trying to do something really, really well, it's very, something has to give. And if it's not the class or your children, it often is, it's your own mental health and well-being. And yeah, it's catching that. And sometimes we have to go through that then informs what we do, how we show up next in the world. It's what you're doing. It's what I'm doing too. These experiences that happen, they don't happen for nothing. Something comes out of that. There's growth from those trickier times. So, and then others get to truly get the nourishment again from our experiences, our learnings, because it's a real felt, visceral within our being. So we know how to show up, and we truly know how to hold that compassion and empathy for another, because you've walked in those shoes, or maybe not exactly those shoes, but similar, Yeah. And I love that that's the journey where it's taking you now, because who you are and what you can offer is so amazing and so needed. And, all parents that journey with you will just be so supported and held. And it means that their story is just one of absolute, I can see his pictures of stars in the sky. Beauty. There's just beauty. Yeah. Even in the hard.
Yeah, it's definitely somewhat of a calling, or I feel a strong pull towards supporting other mothers. And I think doing the playgroup 1 day a week, that also is conducive to that. I'm meeting these mums. I'm able to filter this Steiner knowledge from the kindergartens, to say,
Mhm.
are you in the right place? Do you align with this philosophy? Here's the things I know about it. This is what I know about the community and how it supports people. And yeah, I guess you're at the face of the school, and parents that are curious, the playgroups kind of to test it out, to see whether they want that philosophy for their children, for their family, whether it fits within their lifestyle, whether it's values that they even align with. And it's
Yeah.
really nice to be in that space, still singing songs to children, still working out the behavior guidance and all the things. But also being in front of women who have babies, who are having more babies, and linking that with the postpartum support,
Yeah.
is quite a sort of full circle.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Truly beautiful. So is that something that you're working towards or you are actually offering this now? Is this something that you
Yeah. So last year I did a doula course, and to be quite frank, it was pretty terrible. So I did only the first block of two. Um, and then through that experience, I spoke with another woman who offers a doula course, Sophia from Mother's Circle.
yeah.
She's quite a well-known doula within the industry, if you will. And she sort of supported me to try and retrieve the funds that I'd put into the terrible doula course. And she said to me, if you don't receive the funds, you're welcome to do my course for free next year. And so I had that in my pocket as a real solid support, and yeah, was able to go into battle with this other woman and get my money back. I mean, 6 students left and 2 teachers also left the course, so it was bad.
Wow.
um, but then this year I've been able to do Sophia's course, and it was amazing. We had a 3-day immersion in the bush, at Redwood Valley Farm, and she told and taught doulaing through her vast experience. So through
Mm.
story, by candlelight, and in nature. And it was, yeah, more about the art of support rather than all of the you should do this, that, and the other thing for being a doula. And those things were there and present as well, the practicalities and the realities of it, but told through story was just such a beautiful way to learn, and
Yeah.
so conducive to my training as a Steiner teacher, as the children learn through story, the teachers learn through story.
Mhm.
And that passing of knowledge is so much more acceptable for different types of learners, and
Yeah.
so much more absorbable, which is probably not even a word, but you take it on so much more. And now we're online with her for the next 4 months, 1 night a week. But since then, I have had a postpartum client that I've been seeing for the past few months, just on a Wednesday. First time mum, she has twins. um, that's a big initiation. So I've been able
Mhm.
to just, on the popper days, pop round, when my boys are with their popper, pop round to her place for 2 or 3 hours, cook some food, do a light tidy, sit and have some conversations. She's got lots of questions, hold a baby while she has a shower, or anything that she feels she needs support with that day. And that's been amazing. And then I went to my sister's birth a couple of weeks ago, and that was
Mm.
incredible, at her home, her second baby. And that was a really beautiful experience and chance to practice some more birth support skills.
Mhm.
And I now have 4 births booked in the next few months. They're just
Oh,
a koha or donation type birth while I gain some experience um, in birth support. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to those.
yeah.
And yeah, I've started the Instagram page and the things you're supposed to do. I've had some help with the social media, which has been great because it is just
Send it my way.
not my thing.
I
And
understand.
so, yeah, just trying to constantly have conversation within community to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. If you know anyone, if you want it yourself, and yeah, just really putting myself out there and doing the networking to allow the word to spread that this is what I can offer. And sort of, it's such a great gift for a new mum or a second time mum as a
Yes.
voucher for postpartum support. Everyone's buying packets of nappies and I don't know, different creams that people would never use. And why not pull together with a few friends and give the gift of support and time to
Yeah.
a mum? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. When I think back, that would have just been gold. Yeah,
Mm.
I wholeheartedly agree. I just think you'll be so, I'm not surprised at all you've got 4 booked up already, Emily. Like you'll be amazing at that role,
Thank you.
and everyone will be very blessed to have you in their corner. So to find you right now is what would be the best way of
So my Instagram page is looking a little fancy at the moment with my social media help. The wonderful Jade Steele. She's Salty Origins, if anyone's looking, on Instagram. And then my Instagram handle is Sage Baby Doula.
Nice. Okay.
So I love the color sage, bit of sage advice.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. That's
Yeah.
so you. It's perfect for you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put all that in the show notes below. Yeah, fantastic. I just love listening to everyone's journeys and their stories and where it has led them to now. And it's not always what you think it's going to be. I mean, you're going to be, like, what's happening with your Pilates? Is that still something that might happen?
Yes, my neighbor that I was living next door to was conveniently another Steiner mum, and she said the Welcome Bay Community Centre's looking for a Pilates teacher. Time to whip off whip out the old certificate and give that a go. So for the last probably nearly a year now, I've been teaching just one class a week at the community centre. I don't have to pay for the space, so it's a really great way to build clients. And yeah, one day a week there's a beginners class for all of the community, and because it's somewhat funded by the community, it's a really cheap class as well, so $10 a person, and we get anywhere between 5 and 15 people a
Yeah,
week, and that just runs throughout the term, so that in the holidays I'm completely freed up to go on adventures with the boys.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow, that
And then
sounds
I have
really,
a private Pilates client as well. I loved working one-on-one too, going into people's homes and really focusing on any areas of injury or post-birth Pilates would be amazing as well. So I think
yeah,
encompassing all those skills, pregnancy,
yes.
postpartum, Pilates, body, mind, food, all the stuff.
I love it. It's just like what a package. Oh, what a package. You have to get your little social media guru to like whip up. Just package that, please.
Yeah,
Send
yeah,
it out.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I could talk to you forever and ever, but I know it's a Papa Day and you've got to get your children soon. Before you go, Emily, tell us what you do to keep your soul full. What do you do for you?
Oh, good question. Probably never enough, as we do, but yeah, I capture little moments where I've just had playgroup in the morning and the boys are still at kindy and it's the afternoon and I should be folding all the washing or putting all the dishes in the dishwasher, and I'll just take a moment to just rest. And that might be watching my favorite show, it might be just lying down, it might be going off for a sauna or something like that. That's pretty rare, but I do love a sauna. And just taking a moment to just ignore the housework, and because there's always something to do, it never ends. So we've
Mm-hmm.
got to take those little moments to just rest and do nothing. And I try to do that. And then the other thing I love doing is dancing. And so we always go to a festival or two in the summer, and usually we work to get our tickets for free and things like that, but we love doing that, and our kids love doing that, and we've got lots of friends that love doing that, so that fills our cup up to enter the cold, dark winter.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
Mm.
Oh, Emily, thank you so much for your time and your beautiful energy. And I can't wait for people to hear your story or journey and follow you and, yeah, join you. It'll be amazing. Yeah.
Exciting. Thank you for breaking my podcast virginity.
You did really well.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you again. Isn't Emily just a breath of fresh air? Such a beautiful, beautiful story, and so open and honest about her whole journey and the obstacles that have shown up and how she's navigated them, and they've really informed her each next step. And to that point of even the Pilates training with her back injury and the feeling of burnout, the experience of burnout, and navigating that, and just having that deep full body knowing of, this is what I'm here to do. This is how I want to show up. I want to show up and be that person for mothers, pre-birth and during the birth and postpartum, that guided her into her doula training and finding the right doula that aligns with her. So it's, beautiful, a very wholesome, nourishing conversation, and I'm really grateful for your time, Emily. And so do go and follow her and find out more about, go dive into her world, explore her offerings and I'll put the links in the show notes below of where you can find her. And it always amazes me just how many similarities we each have. We're so connected, every one of us, this interwoven web of life, and our stories, they all, so many crossovers and threads that are similar or the same, or just a slightly different note or tone, but essentially it's all so similar. So it just shows the more we can share and the more we can listen, deeply listen, fully understand and feel another's journey and their experience, and just be able to hold that space of love and compassion for everybody, mainly and most importantly yourself. Because what are we doing? We're all walking each other home, right? So this is one of these beautiful, wholesome conversations, and it has been a wee while since I've published episodes like this, but it has reignited that little spark, that flame. So if you yourself would like to share your story, or you know of someone that might like to, then please reach out. Just get hold of me in any way. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, email, all the details are in the show notes. But I would love to have some more of these beautiful conversations. But it's your story. They're not all the same, but they are the same. You know what I mean. Okay, have a beautiful, soul-filling day and week ahead, and I'll see you again soon.